Welcome back, and very quickly we go to the phones. Fred Langat is on call from Naivasha. Fred, a very good afternoon. What is your comment about the show today?
Good afternoon, Bwana Fred.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you for the time you have given me. I would like to contribute based on the politics that took place over the weekend, starting from Friday in Ukambani and also yesterday. I beg to disagree with those panelists there when they say that Kalonzo Musyoka is a major factor in Ukambani politics. But I want to tell you, Mr. Indemuli, for today's politics, Kalonzo Musyoka is insignificant as far as Ukambani politics is concerned. If you look at those three governors who went with Raila Amolo Odinga on Friday, those governors are very influential. Starting with Kifuta Jibwana, Charity Ngilu, and you go to Alfred Mutua. Those three governors, they have done a commendable job, and most of them, they were not elected even. In fact, they were not even elected through Wiper Party because people trust them than Kalonzo Musyoka. Not unless these three governors now will decamp from Raila Amolo Odinga and support somebody else. Raila Amolo Odinga now will have to lose. But as long as they are with those three governors, Raila Amolo Odinga will fetch up to 70% of Ukambani votes, with or without Kalonzo Musyoka. Because the people of Ukambani really respect those three governors. And then on the issue of FKF and the arrest of Nick Mwendwa, which was done on Friday, I don't like it, how it was done, because if you look at the Ministry of Education, it's not education but the Ministry of Sport. The Ministry of Sport is one of the most corrupt ministries in Kenya because a lot of money was allocated to that ministry to renovate the stadia. But recently, when CAF came and inspect the stadia in Kenya, all the stadia was found to be substandard. They use fake floodlights, and they have been closed. The stadia was closed. I don't know when was it closed, but it was opened recently, and it was found to be worse than when they were closed for renovation. What were they doing? Instead of renovating, they mismanaged the money. They were eating money. Remember, the government allocated almost 1 billion for renovation of those stadia, but nothing was done. The stadia are even worse than when it was enclosed. So Nick Mwendwa is being used as a scapegoat. The people who are corrupt in government is fearful sports, who is Amina Mohammed, and he ought to have been arrested ourselves instead of Nick Mwendwa, because you cannot arrest Nick Mwendwa. Nick Mwendwa is a small person. We need to go to big fish. And you know, Nick Mwendwa is going to be taken to court tomorrow. And in fact, Nick Mwendwa was supposed to go to court himself to write the statement and report what has happened.
Okay.
Nick Mwendwa has not been given enough resources. That's why the Kenyan team has been performing poorly in games. So thank you, Mr. Indimuli. Let me leave it there.
Thank you, Fred. Fred Langat on phone from Naivasha. Let's now go to Habib Omar Congo, and from here in Nairobi, and I'm assuming this is the former chairperson of the Nairobi City Commission. Bwana Congo, good afternoon. Kindly share your views with us.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
I was just wanted to talk about violence in the political parties. This one has to stop. And the only way to do it is that the police should come in and make sure that these boys, because they are few, actually the violence is started by very few boys. Not all young men are violent, but once it starts, it becomes rampant. So if the people who are instigating violence are arrested, 2 to 3 times, they will stop that violence. We don't want to go back to 2007, 2008. And how do we do that? Is the police. The police should take charge. Somebody talked about Migori, those people who were arrested there, maybe Migori will stop. And if by any reason, and I'm not saying so that maybe other people should come in and waniambie mimi nachochea kidogo. Watu wakishikwa kidogo wawekwe ndani wiki mbili, wale wakitolewa watakuwa na adabu. The other one is here, Kalonzo. Kalonzo must make a decision now. Is he in Oka? Is he with ODM? Is he alone? Quickly, so that he may have the chance to do his things. Otherwise, Ukambani ni kwa Kalonzo. All these other players are different. But should there be someone to be taken in Ukambani as the running mate? Raila Odinga akachukua Ngilu kuwa running mate. Ngilu, she has a name. Remember, she contested as a presidential candidate before. That way itakuwa ni sawa. Lakini watu wa kurusha mastone na nini hiyo lazima istopiwe. I don't know what Raila will do in Central Province. I think now he's going inroads there so that he can be able to, if he decides either to get, that's a big confusion. I don't know what they're supposed to do. Maybe you are either to get sent from Eastern, from Central Province, from Western to get the running. That's my contribution.
Much Habib Omar Congo, that's the former chairperson of the Nairobi City Commission, for giving us a call on Inside Politics. Next up, we have Francis Moranga calling us from Kisii. Francis, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. How is Nairobi?
Nairobi is very fine today. How is Kisii?
Yes, Kisii is quite okay. Yeah. Too much rain, but we are doing well.
Okay, go ahead.
Generally, I'm happy to be with you today, and I straight away go to Ukambani. In fact, in Ukambani, Kalonzo Musyoka and Gideon Moi yesterday was in Siaya. In fact, he gave Kenyans hope that Oka is going to work with Raila Amolo Odinga. Therefore, what I'm seeing from Ukambani is that Kalonzo soon is getting relevant politically because all governors have taken the whole ground. In fact, the first caller said 70%. Me, I say 80% of Ukambani, those people are going to now to Raila Amolo Odinga, the way I see from a distance. Kalonzo Musyoka is soon getting a little bit going back. I don't know why he has decided that way, because from Musalia Mudavadi and Fort Kenya, those people, they have decided to park. As we wait, Oka is coming back to Raila Amolo. Going to Kisumu, that is where my interest is. I surely tell you one thing, that in Kisumu, something went wrong. The 2 million, Boni Karwale said that money was given out is what caused the problem. In fact, the Ruos are very, very intelligent people. They cannot do what they did. In fact, I sincerely say on behalf of them that what happened in Kisumu, it was a state-managed affair. It is not the rules. Remember in 2008, what happened after the handshake, when Papa went there and they told them, now my prime minister and my brother is in finance. They told him, we send you for presidency. Those people in Kisumu, they told him, today you are not going to address us, just to go away. You are coming to tell us that you are soon going to come with Kibaki. No, we don't want you. We send you for president. Therefore, what I know is that in Kisumu, those people are very intelligent. What mixed their mind is that money was given out. Because in the rest of the areas in Ruo Nyanza, there was no blackout. There was no fracasses here and there. Going to football in Kenya now. In fact, I concur with Oliver Karori that Aaron Iringera says, in fact, they can't get it right. Me, I say corruption is corruption, and this thing of people being sealed, Amina Mohammed did the right thing to pin out those people who have already even taken money. Imagine 8 million money transferred to somebody's account without explanation. Sincerely, if that is what Mwendwa is supposed to be in court tomorrow, very early in the morning, and that is the way to go. Thank you, sir, and I'm happy to be with you today, and I'm happy with the panelists today. Thank you.
Francis Moranga calling us from Kisii. And finally, we have Dr. Mukiri Githendu from Moranga. Daktari, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to comment on the Football Federation, and I would say that Nick Mwenda was the committee was a cash cow of corruption mandarins, and if who is complaining, you can know who has been siphoning the funds. Minister must be commended for swift action to sanitize the soccer body in Kenya. I would also comment on the announcement by Ruto that BBI will be implemented after the economy is revived. And I say this cannot hold water because it should be Kenyans to decide their way of governance through a referendum. I don't know why people are worried for this matter to go to referendum, and Kenyans will make a decision right there. On the politics, it must be condemned, but leaders themselves must be urged to be responsible. You cannot be calling other leaders matapeli, waganga, mutu wa vitendawili, and then expect to be received very well by their supporters when you go to their backyards. So leaders have to be responsible. On climate change, issues must be taken seriously, considering the climate variability we are already experiencing here in Kenya. I sometimes work in Kitui, and the drought and heat over there is just horrendous at the moment. Greenhouse gases studies were done in Kenya a long time ago, 1998, and it is high time we updated our status in order to gauge our level of vulnerability, adaptation, and the ultimate mitigations that we need as a country to deal with this issue of global warming. Those were my comments.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mukiri Githendo, calling us from Moranga. Thank you to all our callers and for those who are sharing their comments online as well at KTN News KE using the hashtag InsidePolitics. I now want to give my panelists an opportunity to make their final comments. Let's start with you, Hesbon Owila. Hesbon, final comments.
Thank you, Fred. I think the last time I spoke, you asked me a question and you directed it to Kipchumba. So let me finish with that. The issue of climate change. Now, there are a number of issues that Kenyans are grappling with because of the wealthy nations and how they're interfering with the environment, especially global warming. Now, these wealthy nations have committed that by 2025, they will give funds that will help the vulnerable countries like Kenya build protective infrastructure or greening their energy systems. And the amount of money you're talking about here is 200 billion USD that will be coming to vulnerable countries like Kenya. Now, the reason why I'm critical of the media is because we see manifestations of climate change. I grew up in Migori, and I can tell you that the planting seasons that we used to understand and follow diligently are right now interfered with. And there are farmers who are suffering in this country. And it is incumbent upon the media to judiciously trace what is happening in terms of the mitigating and adaptive measures that are funded by these funds from the wealthy countries. Not just to ensure that the agencies that are tasked with the responsibility deliver, but to ensure that even these wealthy nations are taken into account and are held responsible in terms of the commitments that they're making. That is something that we owe this generation and the generation to come, and I think the media is well poised to set that as an agenda. Lastly, let me thank the people of Migori, because we didn't see the violence that we've seen elsewhere, though I must also say that the violence that we saw in Kisumu was politically instigated, and a number of people have spoken to that, and from what they've said, you can actually pick the nitty-gritties of how they influenced that. But the people of Migori impressed me because they welcomed the deputy president, and I'm sure the deputy president is clear that he will not get votes in Migori because the dissent was very clear. Dissent is a very good culture in democracy where you listen to political leaders but express yourselves on the contrary without violence. They did that diligently and expressed themselves, and it is a good marketing to our democracy when we listen to leaders and reject them on the basis of what they say and not necessarily where they come from.
Thank you, Hesbon. Hesbon Wheeler, media and political communications expert, for your final comments. Kipchumba Karori, you have about 60 seconds for yours.
Fred, I think we go back to our politicized war on corruption, whether it is at the FKF, whether it is at the KEMSA, or whether it is at the political parties. What happened in FKF is illegal and unconstitutional. What Ambassador Monica Juma ought to have done is
Amina Mohammed, yes.
Amina Mohammed, sorry, is to invite EACC and DCI to do what the Constitution has mandated them to do. My question this day is, political parties receive money. They receive a percentage of our budget. At the end of the day, why don't we see the same kind of boost and a lot of energy being taken there to make sure that the usage of public funds is